Hi, I'm Craig Johns, CEO and founder of Energy to Perform, international speaker, leadership performance expert, and host of the Active CEO podcast. Today we're talking about simplification is sophistication during times of uncertainty and chaos. That is, simplification is sophistication during times of uncertainty and chaos. It is so easy to make something difficult, but a real challenge to make something simple in life. Anyone can make things difficult, but it takes a lot of time and effort and focus to make something simple. The simpler you make something, the more sophisticated it becomes. Not because of how challenging and difficult it is. The more simple it is, the more sophisticated, clean, and effective it looks or works. So, number one, when you are creating a document or producing a project or developing something new, the first thing to do is check, would a 10-year-old understand it? And on the flip side, would your 80-year-old grandmother also understand it? Because if they can, it will generally be quite simple. And to them, it'll be sophisticated because it's easy, it's clean, and very, very simple to operate. The second one is cut the content by 50% and then again by another 50%. So if you're writing something or you're planning a document, the simpler you make it, the easier it is for people to understand, and the more sophisticated it will become because you start cutting out the filler words and filler sentences that are not required. The simpler you can make something, the more sophisticated it becomes. So that was number two. Number one was check whether a 10-year-old or your 80-year-old grandmother can understand it or use it. Number two, cut the content by 50% and then again by 50%. And you can use the same principle when you're designing something that people can use or touch or play with, because if you can change the number of things or the difficulty of something by 50% and then by 50% again, anyone can do it. And number three, if you do have content, speak it out loud. And does it make sense to you? Because if it doesn't make sense to you, it's not going to make sense to anyone else. Does it make sense to you? It's quite easy if you're writing something to look at it and go, oh yeah, that makes sense in my head. But then as soon as you start speaking it, you start to listen and hear, does this actually make sense? Or have I made it more complicated than it needs to be? So remember, simplification is sophistication, and which is super important right now during uncertain times. The more simpler we can make something, the easier for it is to people to understand, get used to it, and start to become and comfortable around it. This is the Active CEO, where the ordinary don't belong.